articles, and sir has a life member of Anatomical Society of India, Society of Clinical Anatomists, UP chapter of Anatomical Society of India, IAMS Association for Anatomy. Sir is a principal investigator in the project given by ICMR as a principal scientist. With this short brief review,
This fits.
yeah. So I
Okay,
invite sir and welcome you on behalf of sir. Over to you.
I think I should remove the shoes. No, that is photos are there, so it's better to remove the shoes. So thank you very much. Good morning and namaste to everyone. And first of all, I would like to thanks to all organizing team, especially Dr. Professor Reddy, who has given me chance to speak on this topic. And also I'm getting a chance to learn the different aspects of yoga, Ayurveda from such illustrious gathering. So today I'm gonna speak on this topic, which is male infertility, and I'll just focus on certain things, how yoga gonna impact on this male infertility. And I'll also would like to discuss about certain points, how the male infertility gonna impact on the normal embryonic development. So if we look at a few studies which occurs in the past few decades, so in the recent past few decades, the male reproductive health is going to be declined, which can easily be assessed, like WHO has given, modified the criteria for the normal male reproductive health assessment, like sperm count, like the sperm count, motility and morphology. These parameters has been recently changed because there are more like prevalence related to this decline in the male reproductive health. So this kind of thing, which is pushing the population or the infertile group towards the male infertility, they are leading to a condition which is called testicular dysgenesis syndrome, which is basically a systemic as well as localized testicular inflammation. And these inflammations are basically occurring not only due to certain pathogenicity or certain infection, they are occurring because of certain environmental factors. As in our last lecture, Dr. B.M. Singh sir tell about the free radicals, oxidative stress and all. These are certain molecular mechanisms which are going on within our cells or at tissue level, and these are majorly affected by the environment. So we'll discuss how these environment are going to affect them and how they will lead to the different aspect of diseases, especially the infertility. So if we look at the prevalence of male infertility, as I said, it has been increased in past 2 or 3 decades, and many studies are there which have told that among the infertile couples, not only the female infertility, male infertility factor is a very important. Even some of the studies have shown that prevalence of male infertility factor is more as compared to the female. And that's how we can see how it is increasing steeply. So that is creating a financial burden over the infertile couples who are going or seeking for the certain ARTs treatment like IVF and ICSI. So most of time we think that sperm is basically a vehicle which is carrying the paternal DNA towards the offspring at the time of conception. But it is not only a machinery which is carrying the DNA. Like we all know that DNA is having certain region which is going to be transcribed, and some of the region which is not going to be transcribed, which is called epigenome region, or we can say it as an intronic region, which is not going to be transcribed, but that regulate the expression of the exomic region. So this exomic region which is going along with this paternal DNA, that is going to impact the development phases. Means even after the fertilization, the embryo which is carrying only the DNA material from the paternal side, it do have certain factors which regulate the normal development of the embryo in the embryonic life. So this effect is basically being regulated by our lifestyle, like whatever we eat, whatever we do in our social practices, like bad habits, like smoking, alcoholism, exposure to the pesticides and carcinogens, they are going to impact on these paternal factors which are going to be transcribed into the newborn. And only way to control them, there is a holistic approach which is called yoga. Now you'll see how the yoga gonna impact on this thing. So normally, if we look at the infertile male, we used to see about the semen analysis, and we get to know that there is a normojuice-spermia, normal mortality, and the morphology. And in some of the cases, we get the teratojuice-spermia, different kind of abnormality in the sperms. But if there is a normal sperm, normal mortality, or the normal count, still there could be certain deformity at the genomic level. And that genomic level deformity can lead to the different kind of infertility and other kind of developmental diseases. And all these abnormality among the normospermia reason is because of these bad habits, like the obesity, the junk food eating, the non-vegetarian food, and smoking, alcoholism, and the pesticides and carcinogens which are abundant in our atmosphere, which are going to be adulterated our food also. For example, if you look at the smoking and the depression or stress, smoking, we all know it is going to produce a lot of carcinogens. Most important ones are cadmium, benzopyrene, etc. They basically attack or they act on the genomic repair mechanism. So ultimately, if there is a torn or tear in a DNA, that should be repaired by a certain molecular mechanism, but those mechanisms are being affected by these carcinogens which are affecting on them. Similarly, if you look at the depression or stress, again, depression, stress, it acts on our hypothalamic system. In turn, it goes to the activation of pituitary, and finally, that will release the cortisol from the adrenal, which is called HPA axis. So, after increased cortisol, we know that cortisol is something which is necessary to diminish our immune reflexes, etc. So once this immunity level is going to be down because of all these depression and stress, that lead to a condition where the oxidative stress is going to be increased, as well as our immunity to combat with this oxidative stress, which is called total antioxidant capacity, that is also going to be reduced. So as I said, sperm, which is not merely a vector which is carrying DNA, it is something which is carrying the information, and that information, how it gonna produce or express, that is also being controlled by the same material. So what we think, if we talk about the biological parenting, we think like when male gamete gonna fertilize a female gamete, at that time the male and female gamete donor, or the people from which this gamete is coming, they start doing their biological parenting. But it is not exactly like that. For example, if I say about my biological parenting, so it was not started when I got conceived, like it started when my parents got conceived, means I was in an embryonic phase. So same genomic material which do I have at present time, that was there when I was in a embryonic form, right? So since my embryonic development, then my childhood, adulthood, all the phases, all this genome along with the region which is controlling it, which is called epigenome, is exposed to our external environment. Again, those same things. It could be the carcinogens, it could be stress, it could be the bad diet, smoking, alcoholism. So all these are affecting that epigenome to control the expression of normal genome which is being carried by the sperms. So that gives us a concept like diseases, especially the developmental diseases, there is not only a culprit at the time of development, there is something which is carried by the parents, either paternal or maternal side towards the offspring, and it expressed at the time of development. The sperm is a structure which is always remain in oxygen paradox state. It needs oxygen, but whenever there is a oxygen or we can say there is a oxidative stress, it is very, very vulnerable. Means its genome is so vulnerable, if there is a slight increase in oxidative stress, that will lead to damage to that genomic sperm. So DNA in the sperm gonna like fragmented, there could be like mismatch repair in this DNA and all. So that can affect the different kind of diseases that at the phase of development. Like it could lead to the failure of implantation, which comes in a picture like recurrent pregnancy loss, etc. It could be depicted as an infertility in the male. I don't know why it's not working. Okay. So this is one study which published in the Nature Review. They have shown that there are a lot of environmental factors like infection, our aging, lifestyle factor, psychological factor, heavy metal toxicity and all. What they do, they gonna increase stress in our body in terms of creating oxidative stress or the free radicals. Now to combat those oxidative stress, we do have our immune system in terms of antioxidant capacity, which reduces or removes those free radicals from our body. But if there is an imbalance, like if we're gonna expose uh, more than a normal thing from our environment, then that will lead to create of these free radicals, which ultimately forms certain cytotoxic aldehyde, which gonna impact on the genomic machinery, and that could lead to different kind of diseases which will appear during the development as an some childhood cancers, congenital malformation, infertility, recurrent spontaneous abortion. So this paper gives an paradigm shift. Like we think like diseases are being developed during the development, but that development is being hampered because of genome which is being exposed to the environment before the conception. So that leads to learning like diseases could come before the fertilization. Now, this is again one paper by Bencheb et al. They told that uh, there are paternal contribution which not only act on the pre or peri-implantation state, they act on the different stages of development. Like implantation is also being affected by this genomic DNA which is being carried by the sperm. Okay, so all these things which I have discussed are basically making certain controversial thing. Like most of the time we think like in infertile couples, usually in our society there is a taboo that like majority the factor is female, the female fertility is there which is leading to the infertile couple, but it is not like that. So such kind of studies are giving us an opportunity to learn the thing and to like open our thoughts towards the diagnosis or to approach towards these infertile couple. Like there are more chances of getting infertile factors in the male. Now this is one study they have shown these paternal factors are not only impacting the normal fertilization or the normal embryogenesis, even in ARTs like IVF and ICSI techniques. In IVF, the failure we think usually because of the incompetence ova, but it is not necessary. The male factors are also there. Like if there is a uh, fragmented DNA or there is some genomic mismatch repair in the sperm DNA, that can also lead to the failure of conception in the IVF. Okay, this is same thing. Even after the normal fertilization, there are studies which have shown that after the normal fertilization, a normal zygote is being formed, but it is not able to implant because there are certain, again, same factors which are doing certain morphological changes in the embryo so that it is not able to attach. But usually we think that the zygote cell body or the cell membrane is basically coming from the ova. So ova is responsible, but no, actually inside DNA which is there, which is responsible for this activity. So to see this DNA damage in sperm, there is a simple test which is called Comet assay. By doing Comet assay, we can easily see the DNA fragmentation. If you can visualize, there are some less scattering, there is more scattering in this infertile cases. So by doing this simple test, we can identify even in a normospermic patient, is there the DNA fragmentation there or not. Again, there are certain oxidative stress marker, as Sir was telling. One of the validated marker is 8-oxy 2-hydroxyl D-guanosine. This is most validated marker which is being used to see the oxidative stress. Now in this study, if you see, they have shown how this A and B group is showing the group of smoker and non-smoker. Then CD is showing the group of patients who are exposed to pesticide and not exposed to the pesticide. And EF related to alcoholism, and GNH is a combined effect. So you can see how these environmental effects like smoking, exposure to the pesticide, alcoholism, how they are increasing this oxidative stress, right? So my concern is, we were discussing since initial, the oxidative stress is going to do something. So what this oxidative stress is doing, what those free radical bodies are going to our body. So basically what they are doing, they are making our genome more unstable. They are doing hypomethylation at the genome. For some people who don't know about the methylation is a process. Basically, if we see our genome, so all the part of genome is not always ready to get expressed or to form certain mRNA and protein. So to control them, there is a mechanism which is called epigenetics, which regulate the methylation at certain level. So if there is a hypomethylation, the genome is open and it is ready to get expressed, right? And if there is a hypermethylation, so it is gonna compact and it is not ready to express. So if our genome is completely or readily available to express, it may get more expressed as the normal one. So that makes our genome very, very unstable. So I'm just concluding in 5 minutes. So, but at the same time, what happens whenever there is this oxidative stress, it is doing the hypomethylation, but it also does hypermethylation at certain regions. For example, we do have certain important genes like P53, which is tumor suppressor gene. So it is not going to be expressed because of this oxidative stress. This is again the similar study where they have shown that how the spermiogenesis one phase, where there is an alteration in the histone and protamine accessory protein around the DNA. If their ratio is going to be hampered, again the expression analysis is going to be different. It is not only affecting the fertility, it can lead to the different kind of developmental diseases like the autism. So how this oxidative stress can be reduced? So there is one holistic approach, which is yoga. So it is our ancient technique which we usually do not follow in our lifestyle. So basically this yoga is affecting directly to the sperm genome and epigenome. So we have one study in which we have seen that in a group of infertile male, when we given them the regular intervention of yoga and meditation, there is a tremendous result we have seen among these parameters related to infertility. Like the total antioxidant capacity you can see among the yoga and meditation group, it has been raised significantly, and in no yoga and meditation group it is not been significantly changed. Now again, the most validated marker related to the this oxidative stress, it becomes half of the yoga after the yoga intervention. So there is a tremendous result after doing this yoga and all on the oxidative stress. So our antioxidant capacity is increasing and the oxidative stress is going to be decreased by using this simple intervention. Even on microarray gene profiling, we have seen there are many genes which are upregulated and downregulated. Some of the important genes which were downregulated, we have seen that they are directly related with the oxidative stress. So when they are going to be downregulated, the oxidative stress is going to be down. That I have discussed how the yoga is going to change the methylation and the hypomethylation at the genomic level. So same that comet assay we have performed after doing this intervention of yoga. We have seen how this DFI is going to be decreased. So not only the male infertility, even in one of our projects, in female infertility, we have seen in cases of PCOS after a regular intervention of yoga, we found the symptoms are tremendously reduced after 3 to 6 months of yoga intervention as an adjuvant therapy along with the treatment of PCOS. So we were talking about all these genome, and I just saw a tweet by Modi ji on yesterday. He has shown the importance of genome, like our data center, which is called IBDC. So it's a proud moment for us. Like we have about 10,000 complete human genome database with us. So we can do the different research, we can analyze the different things for which earlier we were like dependent on the other countries. So the take home message is either it is a male infertility or a female infertility. It is not always that genome is responsible. There should be some mutation. There could be certain alteration in the expression, and those alterations in the expression are being regulated by the epigenome. And we have discussed how these epigenome can be controlled or can be modulated by doing this regular yoga exercise. Thank you so much.